Hello and welcome to Moviefone. Moviefone TV is your ticket to all that's new at the movies. Here's what's hot on screen. An American nun discovers a terrifying secret hidden inside the tranquil walls of a remote Italian convent as Sydney Sweeney stars in the horror thriller Immaculate.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hello?
I was so enthralled with the character's journey. She was such an unexpected final girl almost, where you don't know what's going to happen. It's unexpected turn, she's scared, she's quiet, and then she finds this inner strength that she completely loses it. And it's so fun as an actor. So seeing a character in a horror genre be able to have such a cool arc, I was really intrigued by it.
I know God saved me for a reason, but I guess I'm still searching for what that reason is.
When she was young, she had a near-death experience, and she always questioned why she was saved. She felt like God really touched her in a way and saved her life, and she felt like she owed it to someone greater than who she was, and she never really found her place. And so she started going to church and felt a community that she's never felt before. And it grew into something greater than herself, and so she wanted to serve God in a more impactful, meaningful way.
Out of all the women in the world, why did he choose me? How can we trust what's inside you?
I was so excited, and I was on such an adrenaline rush of just being a part of this project on such a big way that I didn't want the day to end. I hated when we called wrap. I wanted to be there just helping and doing anything that I possibly could. I love the horror genre. I love that you can just push the boundaries. Like, there's no rules to the world, and I think that's just really fun to play with, cinematically, character-wise, storytelling-wise, and I think it's a lot of fun.
Moviefone Spotlight. Justice Smith gets recruited into a world dedicated solely to making white people feel more comfortable in the satirical comedy, The American Society of Magical Negroes.
I know you can feel their discomfort, Aaron. Watching you walk through a room full of white people was the most painful thing I've ever seen.
Excuse me, sorry.
When I first read Kobe's script, oh, this title is crazy. This is pretty wild, I like it. What a treat. And then I read it and I was like, oh my God, this is really just turning a rom-com upside down with such a big premise behind it.
When I first read it, I was like, oh, this is my experience. You know, I could lend so much to this character because I understand this arc.
You know, I started off just wanting to respond to the magical Negro trope, these black supporting characters who don't have their own inner life, and critique that. And in the process of doing that, I found myself writing about a very particular defense mechanism.
Welcome to the American Society of Magical Negroes.
Aaron is sort of a slightly exaggerated version of my own relationship to some of these themes, and Justice just really understood that character and understood that particular neurosis and that particular defense mechanism.
You ready?
Oh, wow.
Your first client is a Jason Munn. His morale is far too low.
Hey.
Hey.
Darn it, I was hoping there was a station right next to him.
Oh, is this one spoken for?
No.
Hey, I'm Lizzie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Kind of similarly to Justice, a lot of Lizzie felt like she was already in me.
She's great.
Yeah, she's cool.
You kidding? Come on, man. She's smart and funny.
I know what you were doing going on about her. You're trying to set us up.
No, that's not what I was doing.
Kobe is a dream, like an absolute dream, because I would run through the scene And then he would be like, all right, let's do it again. And like, maybe we do it this way. And I would be like, oh, okay, so if we do it this way, can I come at it from this way? And he was like, yes. And it just felt really collaborative.
Actually getting to work with Kobe in rehearsals and on set, he just kind of included who I was into the character and the development of the character.
Someone defied the society. Who was it?
You didn't let her go like I told you. If you interfere with her or your client, you could have your memory erased. You won't even remember she existed.
I knew how to play the specific, complicated feelings, the specific rabbit hole that Aaron was in of feeling discomfort, trying to mitigate that discomfort by appeasing, but then indirectly allowing them to treat him in a way that, again, makes him uncomfortable.
This was a wonderful vehicle both to respond to the trope, but also to unpack that for myself and imagine a world where that could through satire sort of imagine a black person moving past that and being freer and bolder and less subject to it.
Even though we might never see each other again, I need you to know that what we had was real.
I'm curious to see how you're gonna make it out of all this.
Up next on Moviefone TV, the biographical drama Cabrini and the crime thriller Sleeping Dogs. To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviefone.com. Find it, watch it.
First of all, she's a person who wears many masks and assumes different personalities depending on who she's interacting with.
Moviefone recommends. The biographical drama Cabrini chronicles one immigrant woman's fight to build an empire of health, equality, and hope for the disenfranchised of New York City.
I was told that you were rejected by 3 different orders, each time for weakness of constitution.
Your Holiness, we can serve our weakness or we can serve our purpose, not both.
I knew very little about her. I had read something in a chapter of a book called, well, the translation would be Shut It Out, by the same author of Gomorrah, the book that became then the movie and then a series.
No, I think like a lot of people, I was familiar with the name, but it's always associated with institutions, and probably knew that she was a saint. I had no idea why.
I knew nothing about her, completely anything. And, you know, I was very surprised that when I read her story, you know, I was shocked that I didn't know about her.
My sisters, if we are to build an empire of hope, it seems we must first conquer New York.
The main drive is how, you know, we must tell her story in the most cinematic and the most operatic way possible. That's how we started developing, you know, the language to tell her story. That's how everything kind of came together.
In America, the greatest nation on earth, rats have it better than the children of 5 Points.
It's not safe. Not for you. Be careful. This place will eat you alive.
This was a case in which I didn't want to, and I couldn't try to reach the character, understanding how she moved or why or how. It was the other way around. I had to let her values and beliefs and what she stood for speak for her, and that informed everything else.
Doctors tell me 5 years.
5 would be a miracle.
In that case, I should get to work.
He had actually sent a letter saying he was aware that she was coming and saying, no, don't come here. You know, didn't want her to show up. And there she was in his office with a letter from the Pope. What's he going to say to the Pope? The reason I want to do this role is you see that change over the course of the story, and really through her influence, and, you know, because she is who she is, and he's changed by it.
We have to show America we are all people of dignity.
This project is overly ambitious, perhaps unrealistic.
I feel the job of a director is to break the prejudice that anybody might have about any given subject matter. When you hear the word none, you may build a prejudice in your head. That was one of the main challenges, how to break that right away. You know, as soon as you sit down to watch the movie, what is it that I can do to break the prejudice and take you on this cinematic journey?
We are bold, or we die. This is how I learned to live in America.
Indie Corner. An ex-homicide detective suffering from memory loss struggles to solve a murder from his forgotten past as Russell Crowe and Karen Gillan star in the mystery thriller Sleeping Dogs.
What's this about?
Blunt object to the head.
I'm sorry. I don't understand. None of it.
When I first read the script, I was like, oh, this is a really fun, twisty thriller, sort of whodunit, and I definitely didn't see the ending coming. So that one caught me off guard.
The book kind of presented as this murder mystery. In adapting it, we chose to lens it through the eyes of the character that Russell Crowe is ultimately playing, the character Roy Freeman, who's this man who's struggling with Alzheimer's.
We'll be boring the electrodes in the memory centers and the temporal and parietal lobes.
While the movie retains the murder mystery, the lens through which the story is told is very different from the book.
I'm doing a clinical trial. I forget a lot of stuff. My doctor says I gotta keep my mind active. Joseph Weider's murder. Doesn't make sense.
First of all, she's a person who wears many masks and assumes different personalities depending on who she's interacting with and what she wants out of the situation. But on top of that, this movie is told from various perspectives of different characters.
I ain't no killer. Make it right, or I'm dead. He tells me he didn't do it.
The first time I had a proper scene with him and I watched him sort of act for the first time in person, I was like, oh, that's why he's a movie star. The quality that makes a person a movie star, he has that, a lot of it.
He's been doing it such a long time that I think when he walks onto a set and he sees, just for argument's sake, 2 cameras set up, he wants to know what lens is that, because he really just wants to know what is the frame in which I'm doing my work.
Like, he's very aware of the camera and very sort of technically savvy. He just seems like he really understands movie making, all of it, not just the acting part.
She's got no address, no social media, nothing.
There was always people visiting the house.
You know, noir, thriller, whodunit, like all of that stuff is always really, really fun to watch. I really like films like that.
It was a great collaboration because she was just really on board with trying to bring the story to life.
Coming up on Moviefone TV, the biographical series Genius MLKX and the musical comedy The Archies.
60 years ago was the March on Washington, and we're still talking about it because they let those legacies on and on and on.
Find it, watch it. The biographical series Genius, MLKX, chronicles the intertwining stories of 2 pioneering visionaries who spearheaded the civil rights movement in the United States.
Reverend, we understand. We meet at last.
It was interesting that Nat Geo came to us and asked if we'd like to do the 4th season of Genius about Dr. King. And we said that you can't have Dr. King without Malcolm X. We felt that they were both integral to the movement. They both fueled each other, fed each other, inspired each other. And this narrative that you have to choose between one or the other and who you align with is actually a fallacy, in that we need them both.
We have been oppressed.
We are forced to ride the back of a bus so a white passenger could sit.
I think for me, a common misconception is that he led with violence. And the reality is that he led with love and he led with light. And it wasn't actively seeking violence and actively seeking physical engagement. It was, God forbid, should that present itself, we have the right to defend that.
What you're doing is just. Never question that.
I mean, a lot of people would have just been like, all right, this is getting a little too hot. This is getting a little too serious. Let me pull back, let me walk away. But they never did. They ran to it. They ran to change. They ran to pushing us. And their level of commitment never faded.
We're in this together. How can I help you? I believe you're going to do great things.
We must be a little daring.
I mean, from the beginning, the showrunners and the producers were very adamant that this was not going to be a story about these men with the women behind them, that it was about the women beside them, and that they really were investing in how to draw more of Coretta and Dr. Shabazz's contributions to the forefront.
You know, we've been realizing that these people were so young when they made these decisions to, you know, start off on this great journey together. And so they were figuring out along the way, they didn't always know that they were supposed to be together. There was obviously something that drew them together, that thread that kept them together. And I mean, the rest is history.
In some ways, it's kind of like, this show is about them. The reason, once again, that we're talking about them today is because of the fact that, you know, it says 60 years ago was the March on Washington or something like that. And we're still talking about it because they let those legacies on and on and on and on. They've been keeping it alive.
They preserved it. They
For
upheld it.
twice their lifetime, these men. You know what I mean? We're talking about men who died at 39. 60 years? I mean, that's a lot. But that's one of the beautiful things about the show, and that's one of the things I'm most proud of that we get to be a part of.
Do you think this is going to hurt more, you or me?
I imagine it's unlikely to hate either one of us.
Well, then let's keep them guessing.
Amen to that.
In case you missed it. Set in 1960s India, a classic comic book series gets a fresh reimagining in the coming-of-age musical comedy, The Archies.
Goa को Portuguese rule से आज़ाद करवाया, and South Africa became an independent republic. हम सब अपनी जिंदगी लगभग 25% जी चुके हैं, लेकिन किया क्या है हम में से किसी ने?
कुछ नहीं.
Archie comics were big in India. And this was at a time when India was not liberalized. So it was one of the few things of the West that we had. It was literally our portal to this country.
लोगों को हंसाना एक art है, Dad. I think there's a real profession in comedy.
भूलना मत, अब तुम लंदन में नहीं, रिवरडेल में हो. रिवरडेल को भी याद रखना चाहिए ना कि Veronica is back.
When it was offered to me, I was really excited. Because this was like a massive part of my childhood. And then, I mean, there was a bit of panic as to how am I going to adapt it and still retain the wholesomeness, you know. And Riverdale had come out, and it was huge. And it was a modern take and an adaptation which this generation was used to. So we knew we didn't want to repeat that. And we wanted to go back to the nostalgia.
तेरे को सच में Riverdale छोड़ने का है? Imagine if Cliff Richard had not left Lucknow. I could make music that will reach people, music that will really... Tomorrow evening, सिर्फ तुम और मैं.
For a date. We wanted new kids. They also, the characters they were going to play are iconic. So we didn't want any established actors because they come with an image. So we really, literally had to scout. We auditioned everybody that age that remotely wanted to act and didn't think they could ever act. All of them, and we found these 7.
He takes every girl out bets. बताया जाएगा. आची और कुत्ते की दुम कभी सीधे नहीं होंगे.
Betty and Ronnie are best friends. आज नहीं तो कल तेरी बात होगी और फिर तेरा क्या होगा, Ambrose?
What Archie was to us, and what it's a feeling. Like reading Archie comics when you were 10 or 12 in India, it was like getting a hug. And I wanted to transmit that feeling. I wanted to make what it made me feel like. I wanted to be able to project that. And it just made sense to go back in time as opposed to do a contemporary version yet again.
Stay tuned. There's more coming up on Moviefone TV. Thanks for watching Moviefone TV. To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviefone.com. Find it, watch it.